everybody, and welcome to another episode of Moving into the Future. Today, I'm joined by Ryan Marsh of SuperMove and former mover, but now he is at SuperMove, where he is in charge of strategic partnerships and alliances. Ryan, how are you today?
Doing well, Jack, man. I hope you're doing as well as we are over here at SuperMove. And no, really appreciate the opportunity to get on your show and just to pump some mover magic, sort of say. Let's just looking forward to having some awesome conversations. And I always love the energy that you and the advanced team bring. So really looking forward to this one, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time to join. And I know, as far as you said, pumping some energy into the moving industry, I think that's one of the things that SuperMove has done very well since they've come on the scene. They're a fairly young company within the industry, but you guys have certainly done a good job of disrupting the industry a bit in terms of, move solutions and software that you see throughout the industry. And one of the things that I think you've also done well is integrate and immerse yourself into the industry. And as a former mover, you know how important that is. How has your journey been so far at SuperMove, and going from the mover side to the software supplier side, if you will?
Yeah, man, I tell you, we could probably spend this whole hour talking about the transition, but in terms of keeping times straight and on the narrow, I mean, the journey itself was very interesting, right? So knowing the moving world inside and out, like I had known for 12 plus years, like you almost immerse yourself in the language and the ways that moving companies work. Like you almost, I don't want to say you have blinders on at certain aspects, right? But I knew what we were solving for, what we were doing and how we were doing it. But I wasn't really privy to how many other moving companies operated kind of outside of my network, sort of say. So when I first made that initial jump, to me, it was, and it's no different than if somebody hops new into the moving industry, it was the language, right? So if you look at all the language, the moving language that, we talk back and forth, whether it's G11s, APUs, PBOs, CPs, there's that language on the other side of the house when it comes to the tech side, right? So for me, sitting in that first few meetings and I'm listening to, these guys chat and I'm like, man, everybody's in this room is brilliant. I just don't know what the hell they're saying. Right. So, and at the end of the meeting, everyone's, anybody have any questions? And of course, like I wanted to raise every hand and finger that I had because I'm just like taking notes of what is this and what are SAOs and what are SQOs? And, so to me, it was a massive challenge to learn the tech side of the house. Right. And I always consider myself on the techie side. Right. And I guess I say that because I have iPhones, tablets, and I didn't work with a lot of paper, sort of say, in the moving industry. But the hardest part for me was the language. And then really the kind of secondary piece with that is, I was trusted by a ton of people on the moving side of the house, right? We were OA agents, DA agents, for many, many moves over the 12 plus years. So I had relationships with a lot of these folks. And I thought, honestly, it'd be very easy to make the switch because, hey, they knew Ryan from moving, but now Ryan's with the software folks, right? So this should be pretty easy. And, it's taken a long time. I've been there over a year now. And from going from my first event where everyone was like, hey, it's Ryan, but what is on your shirt? Like, what is this all about? Right. It was weird, man, just to be very honest with you. It was very weird to make that switch. But over the past year of continuing leading with education and awareness, bringing some energy to these conferences, conventions, organizational meetings, the trust is there. And kind of what you said in the beginning, like you kind of see us kind of just about everywhere at this point. And, I guess overall it's been a really fun and challenging time. It has me completely out of my comfort zone because the last thing I want to do is see my face and hear my voice on shows like this, right? Or even doing my own podcast or webinars. So really kind of getting outside of my comfort zone and pushing myself to do and just kind of everything that I've known inside my head for 12 plus years, getting that out and pushing that to other movers has been so much fun. And as you know, and I don't want to talk too much here, but movers keep everything kind of right here, right? Close heart, their strategies, what software they use, what have you. So, the ability for me to go out and kind of push this to movers of what I know and what I did and how I did it. I feel like I'm kind of an extension of an avenue, sort of say, of kind of like a helpline, like a trusted help source. And, to do this along with the folks at SuperMove has been a lot of fun. Like I'm truly enjoying, and I'm still in the industry that I love, right? So I didn't leave everybody behind. I just have a different customer now. Like, so before my customer was the ones moving, right? Now my customer is you all, the ones that are actually making the magic happen behind the scenes. So it's been a hell of a good time so far.
Yeah, and what you said too in terms of, movers getting stuck in their ways and having their processes and they hold them tight. And a lot of them are family-owned businesses, so these are the processes that, my great granddad started with, and we're still using them today, and they're proud of that. So when you're integrating a new technology like SuperMove, it's a massive overhaul at a company, and especially, a small family-owned business where sometimes those employees too have been there for 20, 30 years, and they've been doing it the same way since day one. So when you bring in this new technology, it is, quite the commotion, I'd imagine. How has it been? And one of the things I've heard about SuperMove myself is that it integrates really well. It's easy to use. It's easy for employees to understand and comprehend and learn at a fairly quick rate. How has that been for you in these partnerships you're developing? When you're going in and integrating this new technology for companies.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like a two-edged sword or double prong, however you want to say it, right? Yes, it is very user friendly. Yes, it's super easy to use. It's very intuitive, right? But at the end of the day, change management is not. So
Yeah.
it's, regardless of how good your platform is, your program is, your movement, whatever it is, to me, it really starts at the top with what does that change management look like? So you could insert the best technology piece into any business, any industry, but if you don't know the proper way, or really if you don't know how to make that or manage that change management, I think that's the biggest problem that movers have. And to go back to what you said about kind of legacy practices, like I love it. I love those legacy practices that have worked for 30, 40, 50 years or what have you. But my thing is, I challenge everybody is you can still honor those legacy practices. Let's just insert a little bit of technology and make it easier for everybody. Make it easier, make it more efficient and operationally sound, sort of say, because our consumers now in today they're totally different than they were 30, 40 years ago. And I'm sure you can relate to this. Is if you're looking for a service or you're looking to purchase something, we've all got these fancy cell phones that we just click, tap, boom, we have our service, we have our order. And the consumer is gearing more and more to that. And they're no longer comparing moving company to moving company. They're comparing experiences that they're having with other organizations and companies, right along with us movers here as well. So I'm not sure if that actually answered your question. Sometimes I go off on tangents, as you'll see here, but I think ultimately, yeah, the change management piece. So regardless of how great the software piece is, if you don't know how to implement and make those changes, that can be very difficult. But also, that's where our team really steps in, and that's what I really, really, really enjoy about SuperMove and the team is we hold your hand, right? We don't just send you YouTube videos or links or what have you and say, yeah, go ahead and insert that crazy tariff in there. Have fun, guys. No. We want you set up for success, right? So if you're not successful and you're not growing, what good are we with you, right? So to me, it's that ultimate partnership of we want to be there for your ups, your downs, your lefts, and your rights. We want to hold your hand throughout that process to make sure you are ready to roll this out to your team.
That's really great. And when you talk about change management, and again, change management is never easy, regardless of industry or company. It's always a undertaking that does take a certain level of attentiveness and care. And that was going to be my follow up. What does SuperMove do in that aspect? Are you assigning account managers or something to that effect to companies in order to make the transition into this new technology as easy as possible for them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you're entering something new into a workflow or something new into an office, like A, you've got your skeptics. B, you have your, I don't want to say your haters, but the one that are like, man, I've been doing this for 25 years. I don't need this. Or then you have the ones that are basically like, well, my gosh, everything that SuperMove is going to do is going to take everything off my plate. So I'm no longer going to have a job. And it's like, no. We want to make things more efficient. We want to be able to give you as much time back in a day, a week, a month, or a year as possible, so you can actually go and do your job that you actually should be doing. I feel like we all kind of, we get stuck in these mundane tasks that every single move has, as you know, is just think of how many touch points a single move has. How many of those touch points can we eliminate and take off coordinators, operational people, sales reps, automate these pieces, leverage a little bit of AI here and there to truly give you that time back to invest in the customer? And that's something I'm sure we'll touch on in this moving experience report. But, it's like 72% of customers, they want that online, that digitizational experience. But however, out of that 72%, 60% still want that phone call. They still want that human touch. So if we can automate and eliminate all these thousands of daily pinpricks that we all get as movers, that just gives us more time back to spend more time with the customer and provide that exceptional experience.
Absolutely, because you said it before too, in terms of consumers expecting things at the tap of a button and getting things turned around quickly. Even though, and based on the SuperMove report that we'll get into, you found that people are still using Google, dominantly to search for movers and find their movers. On top of that, though, even though they're using Google for that, they do still expect that phone call. And based on the report, I believe it said within 24 hours too. And so the sooner the better. So how are you setting up?
Like 24 hours to me is too late, right? I kind of always have.
Yeah, I agree. It really should be the same day, 8 hours,
If somebody, and this is where you kind of leverage those automations too, right? So if somebody does reach out to your company, bam, you're getting back to them with a quick text or email instantly. And we can all appreciate this because I'm the same way. If I call for a service, and for example, I just had a gas leak at one of my properties a few weeks ago, and I called the first guy, no answer. Second guy, boom. Now, I don't even know if he was the best price by any means, but he picked up the phone immediately, sent a rep out within 30 minutes, evaluated my piece, and like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I don't really have a choice. We're leaking gas. Let's get it done. So they're in my business because it was instant. And I think you're going to get a lot of that across the board, especially when there was a kind of a lack of leads last year, I would say, right? A lot of people kind of on pause, not moving. So when that opportunity is there, if you want to win it, you better jump on it as quick as you can. So that speed to lead to me, I've always been with that 5-minute golden rule. I know the report shows 24 hours, and that's kind of what the future customer is saying. But honestly, you want to wow them over, hit them up in the first 5 minutes and watch what happens. What happens to your conversions.
The best ability is availability, and that's technology that SuperMove is working on, is to eliminate the sludge that falls between the time that you're converting that move from a prospect to an opportunity to a client to build to close, and that's what SuperMove does really, really well. And with the SuperMove Moving Experience Report, it was an incredible job. And I give credit to Juan Jun for I met him, this had to be like during the pandemic, and he was in New York, and I met with him. And one of the things I was really impressed what he did is he really integrated himself into the moving industry. He was somebody, I believe I asked him when I met with him, he didn't have a move background, but he was going through a move himself and saw that it was very convoluted and difficult. And he decided to get involved and create SuperMove. And I found it very impressed. And then over the years following him and seeing what he's done with the technology, but integrating, and with the move experience report that you put together, that was really a accumulation of all of that. What was your big takeaway from that? And how did you even go about getting this data? Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously you've seen previous reports that we've done, right? We've been releasing reports exclusively basically for the moving industry, and the reception was amazing from the movers. Movers were super appreciative of how these reports were informative and based on how other movers are seeing the industry pan out. So we had done a few reports by surveying moving companies, owners, operators, and kind of using that data to allow moving companies to see how they rank against other movers in the industry on marketing, sales, operations, tech, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we thought this time, hey, let's try something a little bit different here, right? Let's This time we wanted to be more consumer centric, especially coming off a year like 2023, right, where we had to be hunters versus gatherers, like we were,
Hmm.
throughout the pandemic in 2022. So basically, what are your future customers wanting? And that was a big thing. What do your customers want? We know what our movers want, right? We know what we want to do. We know what we'd like to do, but ultimately, what is that consumer wanting us? So, and if you and you know this, if you own a moving company, you need to be customer first. So, we knew that movers would enjoy this data of what their customers and future customers are wanting. So, we partnered with a consumer survey partner called Sentiment, I believe was their name. Hopefully, I got that right, Sentiment, and built a really large target of American adults. I think it was 21 years and older. Who are planning to move this year and next, and we made sure we had a good mix of moving customers across age groups, move distances in different states, et cetera, et cetera. And, we created the survey questions, and Sentiment managed getting those surveys results out to the people. And then we just took the results and kind of created the report. So really it was a different look through a different lens of what do your customers expecting you to basically be doing at this point, rather than, what do the movers expect the customers to be doing, right? So we just want to really kind of take that consumer centric space, and it's a great report. I think it'd be
Yeah.
very, very helpful for folks, especially coming out of a year like it was last year.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found most interesting about it was the time that the new generations, millennials and Gen Z, are taking to plan a move. In the past,
Yep.
past generations had taken, typically like anywhere from like 30 to like, geez, I mean, 90 days to plan a move, whereas millennials and Gen Zs are often waiting until within 30 days to do this. And that stems back to what we were talking about before and them expecting things to get done at the tap of a button, and because of the way we're programmed, as both being millennials too, and, even the younger generation more so, we expect things to get done quickly. So therefore we take less time to plan them.
Yep.
And with that said, it's a real big opportunity, I think, for moving companies that can act quickly
It's
and
huge.
turn things around quickly and still be accurate and provide good service. Because as you know, in the moving industry, being a mover, you can't move. You want to move fast, but you can't move too fast, or else you're obviously gonna cost yourself some money one way or another.
100%.
So was that your big takeaway too? And with that data, are you using that as a point of sale for SuperMove's technologies and other tools?
Yeah, and even just on the moving side of the house, and this is stuff that we looked at when I was a part of the industry. I'm still part of the industry, but when I was a mover, right? I mean, we looked at all the data, and everybody knows, June, July, August, September,
Right.
you're gonna be busy, right? Even the worst moving
Right.
company in the world, for the most part, has a packed schedule. But hindsight, leveraging that data to know that you're gonna get, and that's the other thing. Are moving companies tracking these last minute leads? How many are they getting per week, per month, per quarter, per what have you? So I think if moving companies in general would kind of leverage more of the data, and that's a big issue too, right? Without having software, without having what have you, it's really hard to get this critical data to help you make decisions. Um, but with the new consumer wanting to press that button, book really quickly, I think we need to prepare for that, plan for that as best we can. And I think if you start tying in capacity-based calendars, capacity-based pricing, as well as not running at 100% capacity, maybe cut your full capacity at 70%, right? So you have 30% kind of, it might sound crazy, but have a truck or two that you just don't book at all for a
Right.
particular weeks in June, July, August, because you know that these, and I don't want to call them home runs. That sounds really, really bad, but you get these last minute moves where it's about date and not about price. You're
Hmm.
running to full capacity at that point with a, higher end capacity based pricing. So I think there's a lot of things that can be done in the industry to, you know, uh, excel, sort of say, with where it's kind of going with kind of a click to book, but having the ability to have that data, I think is going to be critical. Otherwise, you just can't make decisions based on feelings, sort of say, if that, if
Is
that
that is that something that Supermove is currently helping customers with, or plans to help customers with, in terms of sourcing that data and providing those own internal reports that might help them? Because if you have access to all of those moves and everything that they're doing internally, not just like number of moves, but also costs, dates, dates booked plus dates entered into the system. Are you able to use that data in order to create reports for clients?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you just kind of got my brain going here just a little bit, but yeah, that'd be more of kind of a custom report, but it could be done. Absolutely. So yeah, I think any way that we can, kind of curtail the software to help these moving companies make better data-driven decisions, we're all about that, right? So
Yeah.
the better decisions they can make, the better off and more profitable that they're going to be, the better business that they're going to book as well. And I think it just it makes for a healthy moving ecosystem at that point.
It does. And the moving ecosystem is such a fascinating thing. And because, specifically in the way that we see it in terms of household goods, obviously with the advanced group doing more in the commercial realm and office furniture, and that side of things as well. But it really is such an interesting ecosystem. And you mentioned it before too, in terms of we're getting into that peak season again. And, May is right around the corner. So we're going to be seeing hopefully a lot more activity, this summer with people moving. And one of the things too that I found interesting about the report is the vast majority of Americans are moving to cities that are more affordable, and nobody moves for job opportunities anymore. That used to be like the
Yeah.
number one thing always was, I got a new job, I got to uplift my entire life and move.
Here we
So
go.
now with this, yeah, exactly. And like, companies would be paying for the whole things. And like that whole thing, because of remote work, has essentially dissipated to a percentage that is insignificant. And again, when you speak about the ecosystem, so now the ecosystem is changing, right? Now all of these corporate moves and large family moves or whatever it may have you, were taking place because of these new exciting job opportunities. Now we're almost seeing the influx of that, where people
Yeah.
are moving more so to more affordable, cities or areas, where they can, live a happy life in America. And it's interesting to see how, or will be interesting to see how the industry will respond to that. Are cities like Cincinnati or, I don't know, Charlotte, Scottsdale, these
Big
more
inbound right
mid-market
there.
cities, right? More gonna see a larger influx and movement with the new season coming up.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to me, the advantage is to the movers at this point, right? I mean, we have this data, it's in the report, and you can look at any migration report that I know most van lines do. Now, they're all a little bit different depending on the van line, but they're all very similar as well. I mean, just off the top of my head, I mean, you've got California, Chicago, Seattle, New York, New Jersey. Those are always kind of the top dogs of people basically saying, I've had enough. It's time for me to, better cost of living or better quality of life, or maybe they want more woods versus buildings or what have you. But I feel like if you're located in a mid to high cost area, I mean, use this data to your advantage. Start marketing that in your area.
Right.
So if you're in a major outbound area where people are like, goodbye, start marketing to the areas that you service that are lower cost or have a better quality of family life. Use that to your advantage. So now you're just not advertising, packing, and moving. Start pushing people to these things to start kind of loading up your queue. But again, not having that data makes it very hard to make those decisions. And if you're in an outbound or inbound area, I'd be really, really excited at this point, especially coming off of last year, because that movement's going to be there. Just how do you get your hands on that piece of the pie? What are you doing to kind of leverage that? And again, to me, it's, I promote the benefits of moving to a neighboring low-cost piece, whether it's just cross-border or outside a particular county, or something like that. That's, in your wheelhouse. I wouldn't go advertising like, yeah, if you're a New York company, yeah, go to California. Well, no,
Yeah.
there's a good chance you're not going to be hauling that out there. And there's a good chance, obviously, if you're in a particular van line, you're going to get stuck with a G11, which is going to turn into claims on unhappy customers. So
We'll send all these New Yorkers to Horseheads, right?
hey, if you want, yeah. I mean, I got a great company here that can handle a lot of that DA for you, that DA work. So I just think,
Yeah.
again, knowing those hot route areas, whether you're inbound or outbound, take advantage of that. Market your services towards that, and capture. It's not going to hurt, right? And it's free too, right? You don't have to spend all
Exactly.
this money to do so.
Exactly. And see, that's such a key component of running a successful move business too, is analyzing the data and then strategically positioning yourself to succeed, based on what you see. And that's something, credit to the advanced group and everybody here, we've done a very, very good job at.
You
But what
guys
I
cover
also
the whole
wanted,
East Coast at this point. So like for you
yeah,
guys,
it's
man,
kind of it's
anything
turning out to be
out of
that
New
way.
York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, like you guys should absolutely be crushing it with that last migration report.
Well, we're in Florida now too, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now you got the Florida
Oh
branch
yeah,
down there, so it's
yeah.
like you're catching it both ways, which I think is beautiful. And kudos to your CEO. I mean, I love watching him make these moves behind the scenes. And it's just, again, I know I'm not a part of the advanced group, but it's just, knowing that I worked with you guys for so long, it's just like, the hair stands up. Like, man, these guys are really doing it. When companies are closing their doors and coming up with excuses, you guys are finding ways to win and finding massive ways to win. And again, kudos to you all. And it takes a team to do that, right? It's not just one person banging a fist on a desk. It takes an entire team, in a winning culture to do that. So, kudos to you and the entire team.
Yeah, thank you. And it seems like it's a similar team there at SuperMoves, and you speak about what we're doing at the advanced group is finding ways and finding solutions. SuperMove seems to be doing the same thing. So can you share kind of what's going on there? What's next? What are some of the tools I saw on social media that there is a new sales assistant AI tool that SuperMove is releasing?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll tie into that here in a second. But yeah, we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes here. And again, back to that winning culture and that winning team. Obviously, I was a baseball guy growing up, high school, college, a little bit beyond, what have you. So when I put on my uniform, right, you put on the Red Devils or Blue Devils or whatever team you were playing
Red
for.
Dragons.
Red. Yeah, I know. We talked about the old Red Dragons. You're the real Red Dragon. I'm not. Let's just get this out right now. But I beat you when I played you guys, so I don't want to hear it. So
Yeah, that's right.
Red Dragon. But when I just had this conversation with our CEO on June, we were down at the ATA. Like when I put on that baseball uniform, like that was my foundation, that was my identity, that was like my, my will to win, right? And obviously over the years of wearing a moving company shirt, like yeah, you're winning, you're this, you're that, but I almost relate that feeling of putting on my uniform to when I put this shirt on right here, or I wear the hat or what have you. Like, dude, the hair stands up. Just I literally am just like pumped, ready to go. And to see that go out throughout our entire team and organization is just so much fun to be a part of. It's and I've been a part of a lot of awesome and amazing winning teams, but this one right here definitely, at least for right now, definitely holds the torch. But switching over to the sales AI Copilot, because there are some things we're working on that I probably shouldn't release through this one here, just because it's being
We'll
worked
save that
on.
for the next one.
Yeah, we'll save that for episode 100 or wherever you're at with the episode.
Yeah, now we're talking.
The Sales AI Copilot, it is a standalone piece, right? So you don't have to be a SuperMove customer. So it is its own standalone thing, but everything from call recording, transcribing, and summary, call coaching, prompting, objection handling, battle cards, and the really cool part is kind of the AI automated follow-up and next steps. So just think of having a sales manager on every call or a moving guru on every call, right? So as you're connected with the customer, you have kind of your playbook. Everybody has kind of a sales playbook. Ask the questions, hit this, hit that, what have you. So this now pops up when that call comes in. So as you're speaking to the customer, it's checking the boxes on, did you ask for packing? Or, hey, the customer mentioned that they're downsizing. Did you ask about storage? And I'm sure you've been on many surveys in your life, in your day, where you're like, man, where's this information? What am I doing? Like I have a name and an origin address, but is this local, international, interstate, commercial? Like, how did we not gather this information, right? So this allows for you to basically check all the boxes. And let's face it, we're all humans, right? So if you forgot to ask the storage, the packing, or whatever it is, it's going to basically send an automated follow-up and next steps to that customer, summarizing the call. And hey, you mentioned that you were downsizing. Did you need storage? Now you can set these up via text, email, or what have you. So really, it's a great way to, if you have an older established sales team, but Johnny likes to do it his way, Billy does it his way, and you want a more uniformed approach to close more deals, this is it. Or if you're looking to ramp up and bring on some new salespeople or new office staff or move coordinators, whoever's handling kind of your inbound piece, like what a great way to train them because it's right in front of you. And my favorite part is I was always really good at overcoming objections, but let's face it, you do it different than I do. I do it different than Steve probably does, and Steve does it different than Johnny and what have you. So, but really, we're all doing different ways, but are we getting the same results? So the AI objection handling is if you pop in and say, oh gosh, like $190 an hour. You guys are expensive compared to so-and-so. You're going to have those battle cards that are going to pop up on screen that your reps can basically read off to basically earn you more business.
Wow.
And I know there's people literally, I talk to hundreds of moving company owners weekly. It sounds crazy. I can't believe I talk to that many people per week, but there's people that are hiring general managers and sales managers to do exactly what the Copilot is doing currently. So, you know, it's cool that, yeah, everybody can, you know, call record, everybody can transcribe, and everybody can summary, but the call coaching, the prompting, and objection handling to me is just like, wow, really, really aha, powerful moment.
Yeah, that is so cool. Again, because especially when you're new or you're just starting out, the number of things that you forget to ask at a walkthrough is substantial, you know, and there's a lot of components.
It speeds up onboarding. Well. Right? I mean, everybody wants to hire, everybody wants to grow, but to be very frank and upfront, it took me about 2 years before I actually felt super comfortable knowing the language, and then not just our language. And I had to learn other moving companies' language. Then I had to learn the van line language. Like this right here just takes that all out. Takes it right out of the equation. So
how does it and how does it do that? Like, does it just, because it's an AI, it has a certain base level knowledge that it comes with, or are you teaching it up front, like about your company's, you know, processes? How does it work like that? Are you the science behind it, or can you answer that question?
I think you already know the answer to that question, Jack. I'm a mover of 12 years. I didn't build this damn thing. Now, I did have some influence on what to do, but for me to get in the weeds of how this does and that does that, like, no, I mean, that's where our team, and I'm sure there's some trade pieces behind that. So even the little bit that I do know, and like I said, I got to experience this live at the ATA is the first time that we did kind of our demo, and we demoed probably 20 plus people, and it was the same reaction, like, holy cow. And they're like, how do you do this, Ryan? I'm like,
the hell if I know. I'm just selling it.
There, that's Juan June Mark. I mean, our CTO is absolutely incredible. You know, I would put it, just having a conversation with him about tech and about the is, dude, mind blowing. I'd love to introduce y'all someday to him. He's one of the most brilliant folks behind a computer that I've ever met in my life. So I can't necessarily answer that one to the nitty, but yeah, there are some programming pieces. There are, you know, depending on which way your moving company operates, things can be tweaked. You know, if you have a different sales playbook than, you know, moving company ABC down the street, that's okay. We can operate with your playbook. So there's input from you and your organization as to how you want it to roll. But the AI itself is obviously going to pick out keywords, whether, you know, be expensive or low cost, whatever those particular keywords may be, to really kind of help with that AI battle card.
That is so cool. That is so
exciting.
Cool.
It's in the nice.
Yeah, it really is. It really is, because in the whole, how AI is going to affect the moving industry is just really, really exciting to me. I think it's going to do so much. So that is one component right there. And you know, Ryan, I'm excited to see what else comes. SuperMove, you know, again, has been a great tool for the moving industry to help, you know, just keep us the momentum in the right direction. SuperMove and you have done a very good job at that. So, you know, thank you. And thank you for coming on today. I'm looking forward to episode, you know, 120, when we're talking about some new stuff that SuperMove's been doing to
next time we do it live. I want to do it live. I want to be in.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get you down here.
I want that microphone in my face. Yeah, I want the real deal.
Exactly. We'll get the headphones on you and everything.
No, man, I really appreciate, man. I don't have our time speaking today. It's Monday, though, after Easter, but really appreciate you having me on. You're a hell of a host. Obviously, I look up to you and your podcast. It's kind of the reason why I'm like, you know, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to be like Jack, the real Red Dragon. I'm going to be like the real Red Dragon here, even though I beat you.
You want to plug the podcast, too, for the people who don't know?
Humans of Moving, like, hey, it's you know, not as good as yours, Jack, but we go on there and we just have like just a couple of folks having some drinks and really chopping about the industry, and yeah, we're having a lot of fun. We've got 14 episodes that not officially out. There's 7 that are out, and the other 7 are basically being queued up. I had to try to get a bunch under the belt before travel season here, so we're gonna be rolling out some more. But no, it's always good to jump on fellow movers podcasts, have a great time, and just chop it up. And I feel like I'm back in my old roots as a mover again, talking to you all.
That's right. That's what we like. So Ryan, thank you very much, and best of luck to Humans of Moving. I love it. And we'll do this again soon. All right.
I appreciate it, my man.
All right. Take it easy, brother. Thanks for joining. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks, Jack.